Well, when I heard the word indefinitely, the first thing that popped into my mind was counseling. Like that's going to be a part of his getting back on the court. He has to go get the help that people think he needs before he can get back on the court. And that kind of goes together with like the whole Adam Silver regime, right? The players commissioner, the partnership between the league and the players. I care about the players, all of that. All right. And that's fine. There's a place for that. But my thing is this. Regardless of what you are going through in your personal life, all right, and it's not just athletes, but all people. Everybody goes through all types of things, divorces, traumas, financial hardships, deaths in the family, maybe trouble in your marriage, whatever it might be. But when you show up to work, you have to be professional. And the overwhelming majority of athletes do a great job of this because unlike your average person, when they're going through these teams, they're traveling all over the place. They're still in front of millions of people on television being asked questions. So it's a lot to deal with. You might get traded and be in the middle of that while you're going through something in your personal life. So my point is this. Whatever he's going through, if there is really something, it's no excuse for what he did, period. Yeah. All right? Now, I hope he learns from this. And indefinitely, look, I said yesterday, minimum 10 games. I'd be fine with 15. I know some people are saying, well, that indefinitely could mean 7 games. I can't see that. Like, because if it's going to be serious, if it's going to be real, then 10 games is less than 3 weeks. Is he really going to get the counseling he needs in 2.5 weeks? No. So NBA, Golden State, Players Association, because they're all involved in this, if you're serious about him getting help and it's not just something for PR purposes, then this will take more than 10 games. So I think it'll be closer to 15 to 20 games.
So this just, a lot of this didn't sit right when you're square with me, because I don't understand why there couldn't have been an extra line of the statement. Suspended indefinitely, helping, all that stuff, with a minimum threshold of X amount of games. Like that, a minimum of 10 games, a minimum of 15 games. Because I was one of those people that was like, everyone is reading this indefinite thing as, how long is he going to be away? And I'm reading it as, could he be back in 2 weeks? Could he be back in 7 games? So maybe not. But here's the other part of it that I deeply believe is part of this process, because if we are going to talk about him, it's not a punishment, it's a treatment program almost, or it's both. Right. Well, part of that's accountability. And what I didn't square with any of this is, last we heard from Draymond, this was an accident. He didn't mean to do it. So I apologize for using maybe a somewhat messy analogy, but if you know someone who's gotten a couple DUIs, and then they get a third, and they say, man, I know I've screwed up before, I am innocent here. I fell asleep. I was tired from work. I had had nothing to drink. And then the next day they are checked into rehab. They're like, well, wait, what's going on here? So I believe part of this for Draymond has to be, the next time we hear from him take accountability and say, yeah, I did mean to do that. I shouldn't have done it. And does anybody think that's possible? That Draymond Green will ever say, yeah, I was wrong for what I did to Nurkić? Because I don't. I think he has. He
may say he's wrong. I do have a hard time seeing him say, yeah, I meant to do it.
Yeah, I meant to do it.
I was doing.
And so I am really intrigued, I guess, by where it goes from here, because Brew said something at the very beginning of this conversation yesterday that I think is noteworthy, which was Draymond was very adamant. He was like, you guys know I don't apologize for things I meant to do, and almost said that proudly. And Brew, I think, correctly said part of being a grown-up is being able to say, I did something on purpose, and now, upon looking back, I shouldn't have done it. Draymond has painted himself as such of I have no regrets. Right. I stand on everything that I don't know if that's in play.
But to your point,
you know
Nick, that is part of being an adult.
Yes.
Is part of being an adult is what I said earlier. Your issues off the court or away from work don't affect your professional life. You don't let them. And two, you can admit you made a mistake. Because here's the thing. If Draymond wants to, or any of these guys, want to stand on, I never apologize for something I meant to do, or I have no regrets in my life, then next time you get in trouble, I don't want to hear, well, everybody makes mistakes. I'm only human. Because you're saying you don't. You don't make mistakes. You don't do things wrong. All right? So you can't have it both ways.
All right, so let's talk about what the future holds for the Warriors. They're currently 10-13. They're out of the playoffs. Researcher Josh looked at the absolute best case scenarios for 10-13s, and we had to go back decades. So the 68-69 Knicks, they went to the finals.
Walt Frazier's not walking through that.
No, everybody else was out in the first round. One person was out, one team was out. Lakers were out in the second round, and obviously everybody else didn't even make the playoffs. Yeah. So right now there's not a good chance because they're not a good team without Draymond. Full games, they're 7-5, fine. Without Draymond, they're 3-5, and when he gets ejected, they're 0-3. So, Brew, do you think the Warriors season is already over?
As far as winning a championship or getting to the finals, yes. Like the dynasty is over. I mean, they need new players outside of Steph Curry.
Yeah,
they really do. And
this sucks.
A lot of times it ends this way. We can look at all the Showtime Lakers and the Jordan Bulls, the Celtics in the 80s. You go through a bad period when it's over, and Clay is like 15 points a game, worse since his rookie year, career lows in field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. Andrew Wiggins at 28. I mean, I don't think he's done because I can't imagine it. No, because they got a championship out of that. That was wrong. Wiggins was great for them.
You're right.
But at 28, I would think he can come back next year and have a better year. But 28 years old to be averaging 12 points. Yeah, they're done. The best case scenario this year, Nick, they make the playoffs. I think what's likeliest is the play-in, and on the board, very much on the board is they stay the 11th seed.
Yeah. So here's the thing about all those other dynasties: the best guy either retired, left, or was a shell of himself. So Bird's back went out. He was still there, but he was just not the same guy. Magic was in the finals in his final game before he announced he had HIV. Jordan retired or temporarily from the sport. Shaq, Kobe, Lakers. Shaq, they won 3 championships, didn't go, then went to a finals, and then Shaq left. Right. And Kobe, when he won his 2, he then obviously stayed, but he was a far lesser player shortly thereafter. And LeBron left the Heat. Steph is still great. Great. Some people say better than ever. I don't buy that, but he's not. He's not 10% worse than, you know what I mean, Apex Steph Curry.
Absolutely.
And Wilds, let's look at the standings, if we can. Who is the team that's collapsing? Maybe the Rockets.
You got to hope the Rockets.
You have to hope the Rockets.
The Pelicans.
The Pelicans could. But you never know.
But again, the Warriors are 10-13 and about to be without Draymond for a long stretch. They're not about to stabilize. And so, also, Grizzlies totally cooked. The Josh suspension room season sidebar. But go ahead.
No, then the other idea is this. When they get Draymond back, this assumes that Draymond can play with the same intensity that he has throughout his whole career.
An interesting opinion.
His strategy, and there's points where his behavior is reckless. There's points when he is strategically getting in your head. He strategically got into Jaylen Brown's head. He did that on purpose. He said he did it on purpose to try to intimidate.
Even before the stomp, the Sabonis stuff.
There's elements of that he's the enforcer on a, let's just call it what it is, like a soft team.
Yeah.
So now, first game back, if he gets 10 games, he'll be playing Denver. If I'm Aaron Gordon, am I giving Draymond a little bit of something extra to see what happens? And then what can he do? He's in a very vulnerable. Can he pick up a tech? Can he argue a bad call from the refs? A horrible call. Can he say anything? Now someone else got to say it?
I would
the whole
argue
dynamic changes.
That the things that get Draymond in trouble aren't the things that make him great. First, he's a very smart player, not just in cajoling and things like that, but in terms of he's their point guard. Essentially.
Sure.
He's been the point guard with Steph Curry in this whole dynasty. He's a very smart player. He's smart defensively, team defense-wise, individual defense. and he is tough. He can do all that. Like, you don't have to kick a guy in the groin. You don't have to haul off and karate chop somebody. You don't have to step on their chest. You don't have to grab them in the headlight. Like, that's all we're asking, Draymond. Just play tough, hard-nosed basketball.
You're allowed to push?
If you want to give a little extra, that's fine.
Okay, and then someone gives it extra to you,
extra.
And then what do you do?
You got to be cool. Laugh it off. Oh, you trying to trick me? No, I'm too smart for that.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.